Hello and welcome to TheFederal. You're watching our special series of interviews with various scholars, civil society activists, journalists, various other informed citizens of the country to mark the 100 years of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, which is one of the most important organizations in the country at the moment. Over the last few months, we have spoken about a lot of issues. We have spoken about the ideas of the RSS, from where it draws its inspiration, who are its inspirational gurus like V.D. Savarkar, Golwalkar. We have spoken about a wide range of issues. How does the RSS, was it at all a part of the national movement or not? But we have not spoken about who the RSS, thinks is the actual national hero of the nation that they would like to identify as a Bharat. We are talking about Chhatrapati Shivaji, the Maratha emperor. That is the person from whom the RSS, draws its inspiration from. So we are going to try to understand who was Shivaji, meaning that there are large number of ideas about who Shivaji was, but what is the correct image? Then we are trying to go into and analyze as to what really compelled the Hindu majoritarian groups when they were emerging in the late 19th century and eventually the RSS when it was formed. Why so much of deification or valorization of Chhatrapati Shivaji? To talk about all these issues, I am joined by a very renowned scholar of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and the affiliated organizations which totally comprise the Sangh Parivar. Dr. Ram Puniyani is with me on this program. I am using the word doctor not because he is just a social scientist doctor, but somebody who has actually been a medical doctor and then has actually come into this very vital area. So thank you, Dr. Punyani, for two primary reasons. One is, of course, to spare time to come and join us on this program to talk about this very important issue. The second is to actually spend so many decades of your life trying to shed light on one of the most important and a most difficult organization to cope with and shed light on them. Thank you very much for joining me on this program.
Thank you very much for calling me.
Dr. Punyani, first of all, let me ask you, through all this, the veil of myth making which has been going on for last more than 150 years, at least if I, am not wrong, who was actually Shivaji in terms that he is projected at times as a very communally minded person, somebody who was trying to divide society on the lines of Hindu and Muslim identity. And on the other side, there are other historians, political scientists, including writers like you, who have framed Shivaji within a very inclusive framework. What is the real truth about Shivaji?
Yeah, thanks. This is quite an important issue, because Shivaji has been interpreted in many ways, and RSS has its own interpretation of Shivaji, which is very far from the truth. Now, if we begin slightly from his grandfather, Maloji Rao Bhosle, Shivaji's grandfather, Maloji Rao Bhosle, he was a soldier in some army, and he did not have children. Mm-hmm. So he went to the dargah of Shah Sharif. And so first note here, he is going to the dargah of Shah Sharif. And later on, when he had two sons, he named one of them Shahaji and another was Shahaji and another Sharifji. So this is the background from which Shivaji Maharaj comes. Then his father was also holding some rank in army. And when he held the rank, he was fairly well placed, but he was not a king. That basically what I want to point out is not the king. Now, Shivaji, when he came up in these circumstances, he was seeing that between the king and the peasant,
Hmm.
whom we also call Rayat here, Rayat,
Hmm. Hmm.
there is a lot of series of people who do serious exploitation, severe exploitation of the peasants. So apart
Hmm.
from the king's own taxation, Lagan, now these in between intermediaries, they used to exploit these riots, like probably other places also. And Shivaji felt very disturbed about it. So he thought of creating his own kingdom.
Hmm.
But of course, he was not a son of a king. So he collected some people personally and attacked a Hindu king called Chandra Rao More.
Hmm.
Please note, Chandra Rao More.
Hmm.
And he plundered his treasury. With the help of that, he raised a small army. And then
Hmm.
he went on to expand his empire slowly. So this is how he
Right.
comes up. And as his empire expands, he wants to get coronated. But the Brahmins of the area, because
Hmm.
coronation is usually done by the Brahmins, and
That's
only
right.
if he become a king. So they refused to coronate him because he was not a Kshatriya. So
Right.
they sent some emissary to Kashi to get
Hmm.
Gaga Bhatt, a Brahmin who was
Hmm.
given a big dakshina, and he came and coronated Shivaji Maharaj. Now,
Okay.
Shivaji, when he was expanding, he
Hmm.
had a very inclusive attitude, as you use the word very correctly. So that's how his kingdom slightly started coming up.
Hmm. So, there are two ways in which the empire which Shivaji created and the battles which he had with primarily the Mughal, that is where the Mughal emperor, specifically Aurangzeb, that is where it gets really framed into in popular culture. So one way of looking at it is that looking at his battles as some kind of a religious warfare. The other should be looked at purely in terms of a political struggle to expand the empire. How would you really look at all these issues?
Yeah, see, first of all, as I told you, the first king he attacked was Chandra
Hmm.
Rao More. So
That's
there
right.
is no element of religion at all in this. Then, when he was expanding his empire, means kingdom, so
Hmm.
two kings thought that he will be eating up into their area of control. One was
Hmm.
Aurangzeb, and second was Adil Shah, Nawab
Hmm.
Adil Shah of Jaipur. So both of them they tried to curtail Shivaji. So first, let's talk of Aurangzeb.
Hmm.
When Aurangzeb, that time when he was seeing Shivaji expanding his kingdom, so he
Hmm.
sent his army, and lo and behold, the chief of the army was Mirza Raja Jai Singh. Means
Hmm.
he held this what you call post of that
That's right.
prefix of Mirza, and he came, and Raja Jai Singh and Shivaji they had a conflict, and there was a treaty of Purandar.
Hmm.
In the treaty, Shivaji agreed that he will go to Aurangzeb's court.
Hmm.
So when he went to Aurangzeb's court, so here before we go to the court, let's see the composition of Shivaji's army is very interesting. Shivaji's army, there is a Marathi book by Prem Hanwate called Shivrayanche Nishtavant Sainik, in which
Hmm.
he tells that, amongst other, Shivaji had 12 generals, Senapatis, who were Muslims, Siddhi Sambal, Ibrahim Gardi, Daulat Khan, and
Right.
others. His cannon division was managed by a Muslim. His naval division was also managed by a Muslim. So this uh, question of religion did not come at all. Let's see here. Aurangzeb is sending a army led by a Hindu general, and Shivaji
Hmm.
has an army which has Muslim generals. So there is no question of any
Okay.
religious component in this. Let me remind you, when Shivaji was, of course, when Shivaji went to Aurangzeb's court, Aurangzeb made him stand in the line of
Hmm.
Panch Hazari, what is it called, Mansab,
Hmm.
whatever you translate into the English, in Panch Hazari Mansab, which was lower than 10 Hazari, which Shivaji deserved. So Shivaji
mm,
got angry. He shouted at Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb got him imprisoned. Now, when he was imprisoned in another Rajput king's mahal, this thing fort. So the person who helped him escape was Madari Mehtar, who was a
mm.
Muslim prince
A Muslim.
devoted to Shivaji Maharaj. And Shivaji Maharaj later on visited the tomb of this Madari Mehtar also. So this is one
Okay.
part of the thing, his battle with Aurangzeb. So here we see again both armies had Hindus, both armies had Muslims, and the real question was Aurangzeb not wanting Shivaji to expand his empire or kingdom.
Mm,
Now let's see the second one. Second one also is important. Bijapur, Adil Shah. He was because Shivaji was occupying an area around Pune, expanding both sides of Pune and all that, and capturing various forts from More brothers. So this Adil Shah also sent a general, Rustam-e-Jaman, to
mhm,
control Shivaji. So when Rustam-e-Jaman came, Hindu Brahmins, they
mm,
performed a yajna for his victory.
mm,
Very nice. So Hindu-Muslim angle, let's see here. Now when Rustam-e-Jaman sends a message to Shivaji Maharaj that we'll come and we will negotiate, but we will meet when we do not have any armaments.
mm,
Shivaji had agreed to that, but one of his generals or bodyguards, Rustam-e-Jaman, he
mm,
told Shivaji Maharaj that this fellow, Afzal Khan, is tall, is very well built. He can kill you even without armaments. So don't
okay.
go without armaments. Take this what you call iron claws, Wagnak,
Mm,
along with you. So this next part, when Shivaji Maharaj
no
goes there,
problem.
Last half a minute, Afzal Khan attacks him, and
Mm,
when Afzal Khan attacks, Shivaji kills him with his Wagnak. And as Afzal Khan falls down, Krishnaji Bhaskar Kulkarni, a
mm,
secretary of Afzal Khan, he tries to attack Shivaji. So this is
okay.
in, in sum the type of things we are talking about.
Right. You have studied the Sangh Parivar literature, their oral narratives for several decades. Now, it is an undisputed fact that in their narratives that they have presented Shivaji as a person who broke centuries of Mughal rule, the Mughal or Muslim rule, to be more not Mughal, Mughal would not be fair, but Muslim rule, and that they almost have projected him as a revolutionary who fought against political and religious hegemony of the Muslims. This portrayal comes across very clearly. How does this come about, and on what basis do they, justify this or convey this to their supporters?
Actually, there was general presentation of history in the communal angle.
Mhm.
Like from 1818, James Mill had written a book, History of India, in which he divides the Indian period into ancient period, ancient Hindu period, medieval Muslim period, and modern British period. See their cleverness here. Now, later on, when 1850 revolt took place, with Mangal Pandey triggering it, Bahadur Shah Zafar leading it, Tatar
Mm.
Sahib Tope, Nana Peshwa Jhansi ki Rani being part of it. When Hindu
Yes.
Muslims came together and fought against British intensified their policy of divide and rule by using communal interpretation of history. So this is where
Right.
Aurangzeb becomes a Muslim, Shivaji becomes a Hindu, unmindful of the fact that Aurangzeb is sending Raja Jai Singh, and Shivaji is assisted by Muslim generals, and his even secretary is Maulana Haider Ali, who holds the highest office in Shivaji's court.
Mm.
So this is
Right.
where the history of communal history begins. So this
Mm.
is where Aurangzeb and Shivaji's battle, or Shivaji Maharaj and battle of Adil Shah, they become Hindu-Muslim battles in presentation of British. And this interpretation is taken up by Hindu communalists on one side and Muslim communalists on the other side. Muslim communalists just reverse it to show that they were great, they were the rulers and they were doing this. And Hindu communalists think that Hindu king has come up and he is trying to counter the expansion of Mughal Empire or Muslim kings.
Right. Various scholars have said that violence was an integral part of Hindutva. Uh, if you look at their literature of the Sangh Parivar, you find that in the context of Shivaji, his virility and valor that is projected and showcased to the people. Some of it is true, some of it is imagined and exaggerated. As it happens about history, that you can actually trumpet some parts of it and underplay some other sections of that. Now, the virility and valor of Shivaji, we find in popular stories, talked about in shakhas, talked about in children's sections everywhere, is constantly juxtaposed with the Gandhian non-violence.
Yeah.
What is to your mind is this purpose behind this juxtaposition?
Yes, see, most of the communal tendencies, if you see, cutting across religions, means most of the religions have been made the base of fundamentalist politics. In that, violence is actually valorized, and even violation of the modesty of women is also projected in very, very great way. So there is nothing new about valorization of Shivaji as a brave man and Mahatma Gandhi type people as not so brave. Here, Niranjan, if you give me the permission, I'll give the example. Like after coming of Buddha, who preached of non-violence, and Ashoka taking to Buddhism and his non-violence as his basic point.
As the moral bearing of his life.
India became weaker because of the adoption of non-violence policies by Ashoka and others. While Ashoka's empire was the largest empire in this region before British came.
Right. There is something which I also wanted to ask. There has been even in the recent years there has been a lot of constant use and projection of Shivaji as the national hero. I will give you an example. In 2022, the government of India decided to stop using the British era naval ensign or the naval flag and come up with a new one which used all elements, design, motives from Shivaji's navy. And in his speech, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked very highly about Shivaji's navy, the Maratha navy at the time when Shivaji was the emperor. This completely overlooked the fact that while Shivaji did have a powerful navy, but it was what the military writers or historians would call was a brown navy. You had empires like the Cholas; they had blue water navy, which meaning that went much further deep. So ignoring the real, what should be the actual Indian national naval ensign, in ignoring those empires and focusing on Shivaji, what to my mind does this, indicate to you?
Yeah, see, Chola kings, if we see, Chola king actually, most of the RSS imagery comes from the North India and that particular area. Like RSS, many symbols and images, they are based in Maharashtra because Nagpur was the area which is close to Maharashtra, now in Maharashtra. From there it derives. That is one. And secondly, in our books, there is a North Indian bias in our history also. Probably that may be the reason why Chola's history is not known so much. Shivaji Maharaj's history of naval expeditions. Of course, I must say that Shivaji did a remarkable job in putting together a navy for fighting, for expanding his kingdom. But there is nothing particular, much greater about one king against the other. People started using it as and when it suited them.
You know, if we are talking about, how the valorization of Shivaji has happened and how he has been portrayed constantly as a great Hindu empire, somebody who ended centuries of Muslim rule. Now, can one say that projecting, Shivaji as a Hindu champion was essential for these all these organizations, be it the RSS, the Hindu Mahasabha, or the various affiliates of the RSS? Was it necessary for them to try to create some kind of what is called a historical continuity among the people, among the Hindus, the target audience, who they were targeting to enlist into the organization, the issue of Hindu pride and the will of power, among the Hindus. Was it a combination of all these things for which Shivaji was drawn into their fold, ideological fold?
See, Nilanjan, if we study it properly, this every organization needs heroes from the history. So Shivaji suited them well because Shivaji had a battle against Aurangzeb, means Raja Jai Singh, as I told you, and also the Adil Shah of Bijapur. But let's
Mhm.
see that how these heroes are created by them. I was reading Godse's book on assassination of Gandhi, and there
Mhm.
Godse says that Mahatma Gandhi was a pygmy as far as nationalism is concerned.
Yeah,
Please note,
are you
these are
talking about the statement which he made in during his trial?
yes, I'm making
Okay.
talking of that.
Okay.
I read it from a book which
Okay.
is based on the trial of Godse. So,
Okay.
and he glorified Shivaji and Rana Pratap as a great nationalist because for them, kingdom and nationalism they're thoroughly intermixed on deliberate purpose because they want to project Hindu kings as the great heroes of our nation, while the Indian nationalism, which came up as a composite nationalism, doesn't matter to them at all. So this valor of Shivaji Maharaj or Rana Pratap or even Govind Singh, they want to take it as a sort of a symbol of pride for a particular religion or particular people in a communal sense.
Okay, so then it would be correct to say that for all the Hindu right-wing forces, Shivaji has essentially been framed as a protector of dharma, or the symbol of Hindu sovereignty. Can one actually say that? And that is the reason as to why they have really built Shivaji as the national hero.
Yeah, in a way, he has been projected like that. I'll remind you that in
Hmm.
1893, I think, something like that, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak
Hmm.
organized a festival in honor of Shivaji. So that is the first
Right.
account we. And second, we see that Jyotirao Phule had a different
Did
interpretation of
they call
Shivaji.
the did they was this called Shiv Jayanti?
Yeah, Shiv
This
Jayanti
was
is a
called
big
Shiv Jayanti.
festival in Maharashtra. So actually, Shiv Jayanti, I'll tell you an interesting thing that while Shiv Jayanti is celebrated as a sort of a pro-Hindu thing, in Sangli, once I had visited, and Sangli, it was their day of Shiv Jayanti, there was a procession with 12 Muslim generals of Shivaji taking
Hmm.
part of that, dressed up and like that. So, but of course, gradually, as communalism has become stronger, they're trying to project it as a Hindu project and also related to Brahmins and cows and other things, which are part of their agenda. So, projecting Shivaji and Rana Pratap is a part of their communal project to inspire the community in the name of religion, while it is not true at all.
There has been a paradox which I have never really been able to understand. We all know that Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, VD Savarkar, was the person who actually inspired the establishment or the formation of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh to a great extent, and that despite his very, not very enthusiastic attitude towards the RSS after he joined public life in 1937, despite the
Yes.
fact that they were ideologically same and pursued the same goals, which eventually became very clear with the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. and accusations were leveled, none of which could really be proved. Even though as we all know, the needle of suspicion continues to be pointed in the direction of Savarkar, even today, because of the Kapoor Commission report and what it said in that. Now, Savarkar, in one of his early books, which he wrote on the 1857, War of Independence in India, at that time he says, which is considered by many scholars who have looked at it as a time when he has not yet completely turned communal, but yet one finds very significant evidence of it later on becoming, a part of his thinking. Now, there was one particular paragraph, which really struck me. In that book, the Great Indian War, which he wrote, published in 1907 or so, while he was still in London. So that
Yeah.
the feeling of hatred against the Mohammedans was just and necessary in the times of Shivaji. But such a feeling would be unjust and foolish if nursed now, simply because it was the dominant feeling of the Hindus then. So while he's saying that during Shivaji's time, the anti-Muslim sentiment was correct, but now Hindus should not have an anti-Muslim sentiment. How do you explain this very, very ironical kind of a statement, coming
Yeah,
from him
it's quite confusing and contradictory because 1857 he praises that whole war. And let me add something. That same 1857 war which Savarkar praises, Golwalkar of RSS says we lost the war because it was being led by a Muslim. And Hindu soldiers felt that if we win the war, again Muslims will come to power. See what a funny thing to say about that when it was a deeply integrated war, as Savarkar has pointed out. But in Shivaji, again to defend Shivaji, because they needed a icon very badly to build up their organization. One, for organization, they need an enemy, which they created in the form of a Muslim and everything oriented around that. And second, they need an icon to inspire the young people whom they were indoctrinating in the ideology of Hindu nationalism. So it is because of this confusion that Savarkar, as he makes a transition from 1857, the Great War of Independence, to the ideologue of Hindu nationalism. This, I think, shows his transition, gradual transition from 1857 Savarkar to 1920s, 30s, when he saw the need to have a icon on one side and enemy figure on the other.
When one listens to or reads a lot of literature and the oral, speeches of leaders of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, and especially when it comes to Shivaji, they constantly harp on the fact that Shivaji, formulated the idea of Hindavi Swaraj.
Yeah.
Now, when they say that, what are they really trying to mean?
See, Hindavi Swaraj and Hindu Rashtra, these are two entirely different things. By Hindavi Swaraj, that is a geographical meaning which Shivaji was using, because Hind initially began as a geographical category only.
Right.
Hindu became religion much later. So Shivaji was talking of all his subjects, or Rayat, as we call it, Rayat, irrespective of their religion, which got reflected in his policies all through. All through, if you see, these policies continue. Same Afzal Khan, who was killed by him, he built a tomb for Afzal Khan in Pratapgarh Fort.
Right.
So he did not have this Hindu nationalism in mind, which people try to think Hindavi Swaraj and Hindu Rashtra are the same. They are two contrasting, opposite things.
So, do you think that they are using Hindavi Swaraj as some kind of a historical blueprint for the future idea of what they want to project as, or say, would be a Hindu Rashtra?
Absolutely, absolutely. So they actually want to pick up anything from history, which they can mildly change and use it for their project of Hindu nationalism. So it has nothing to do with what Shivaji was thinking. Otherwise,
mm,
you can't find nearly 30% of Shivaji's soldiers being Muslims. And I forgot
right,
to tell you that Shivaji had also built a mosque in his Raigad fort near
mm,
Lord Jagdishwar's temple, which he was built for his own self. He also built a mosque. He
right.
said that my subjects are Muslims also. If they come to meet me, it is a time for them to pray, and they should have their prayer in that mosque. So that these are two. Now the time is there to break the mosque and build the temple. So it is totally different agenda as far as Shivaji Maharaj was concerned, and the politics of Hindu nationalism is concerned.
Right, I'm coming to the last question, or rather, I would say that towards the end of this conversation. We have seen that for about almost 150 years, the Hindu nationalists, Hindu majoritarian political groups and individuals have projected Shivaji as quote unquote their own, as somebody who fought for Hindu dignity, somebody who ensured that Muslim rule in this country was over, and so on. All those points which we have been talking about. Now, my question is actually two pronged. One is that in this period when the Hindu majoritarian forces have made their projections, their claims, and a certain portrayal of Shivaji has come to be accepted in society, how do you look at the strategies and the responses of the non Hindu majoritarian forces? The more the I'm not going to be talking about specific organizations, but those who were wedded to the idea of an inclusive India, have they been able to actually correct the image of Shivaji in the people's mind? And in today's context, those who are the opponents of the RSS and the BJP, what is the message to them as far as from you are concerned, that how they should go about portraying the image of Shivaji, and if one can actually say that rest his legacy from the Hindu majoritarian forces.
Yeah, see, Nilanjan, I must tell you that in Maharashtra, even the Muslims are very respectful of Shivaji Maharaj. And interestingly, I'm forgetting the name of the painter. One of the best paintings on Shivaji is made by a Muslim painter. I'm forgetting the name. That is a very popular picture of his also. So the
Mhm.
popular songs which are in praise of Shivaji, they're very popular here in this thing. Now to raise for your question, how do we say something different? So there is a very great example of Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, who was for Dalits and OBCs and deprived sections. He was the one who discovered the tomb of Shivaji Maharaj,
Hmm.
Samadhi. He discovered it, and then he wrote a long poem of praise for Shivaji. What is his
Okay.
cause for praising Shivaji? That Shivaji was inclusive. He was taking the low caste with his army. He was treating them well. He was treating the riots very well. He was saving them from exploitation. So he calls Shivaji Maharaj as the Lok Kalyankari Raja. Now, here
Hmm.
there is a, narration by RSS which says that Go Brahman Pratipalak Raja, and here is another narrative by Dalit OBC, starting from Jyotirao Phule, who praises Shivaji for his
Okay.
policies which are transcending caste and religion both, and which are
Right.
very empathetic to the problems of the riots in the state. So this is where I think Jyotirao Phule's narration is something which we need to project more and more strongly to take it away from the hands of Hindu nationalist forces who are trying to misuse Shivaji's legacy for their political goals.
So what you are suggesting is that instead of ignoring the legacy of Shivaji, it should be,
Yeah,
embraced by those who are the adversaries of the Sangh Parivar and its ideology, and in fact show that what was the true picture of Shivaji, that he was not a parochial, communally minded leader, but was somebody who actually believed in the complete inclusive nature of Indian tradition, and that the people of India did not comprise only those who were Hindus. Is that what you are suggesting has to be
Yeah,
done?
precisely. Yeah, because I respect Shivaji Maharaj for his policies towards the poor farmers. So this is not every king focuses on such thing. So for that, Shivaji deserves a lot of credit for his inclusiveness because he was
Mhm.
not distinguishing between Hindus and Muslims. Thirdly,
Mm.
once he wrote a letter to Aurangzeb also that our policies should not be based on religion. And he tells
Mm.
Aurangzeb that let's try to emulate the path of your grandfather,
Mm.
Akbar, who was very inclusive in his policies. So these are the things which need to be retrieved for Shivaji Maharaj so that we can wrest it away from the hands of RSS. That is the only thing I feel.
Yes, and of course, as you said, that we also have to popularize that Shivaji did not believe in caste. That his not just his army but his entire empire was full of people from the lower caste who lived with the utmost dignity that they could have got at that particular time. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Dr. Ram Punyani, for talking on this very important aspect, which often gets ignored, that who does the Sangh Parivar project as the national hero, and is their depiction of their national hero a correct one or not? Very well explained. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Nilanjan, for calling me. Thank you very much.